Hello children, welcome to Ray Shikshan Sanstha's online learning program. Students, do you know everything has got its own time? It means you cannot do all things at the same time. Each and every action has its proper and correct time. So, today we are going to learn the poem number 9, Time for Everything. Let us recite the poem, Time for Everything. There's a time to run and a time to walk. There's a time to run and a time to walk. There's a time for silence, a time for talk. There's a time for silence, a time for talk. There's a time for work and a time for play. There's a time for work and a time for play. There's a time for sleep at the close of day. There's a time for sleep at the close of day. There's a time for everything you do. There's a time for everything you do. For children and for grown-ups too. For children and for grown-ups too. A time to stand up and a time to sit. A time to stand up and a time to sit. But see that the time and actions fit. But see that the time and actions fit. Now see the first stanza of the poem. There is a time to run and a time to walk. There is a time for silence and time for talk. There is a time for work and time for play. There is a time for sleep at the close of day. Here in first stanza, the poet tells us that there is a time for everything. There is a time when we should run and when we should walk. When we should keep silent and when we should talk. When we should work and when we should play. The time for sleep is at the end of the day. Means everything has its proper and correct time. So we have to do everything on that proper time. There is a time for everything you do, for children and for grown-ups too. A time to stand up and a time to sit. But see that the time and actions fit. Here poet suggests us that there is a time for everything we do. For children as well as grown-ups. Grown-ups means adults. There should be a time for everything that we do. We should even stand up and sit down at the correct time. However, the poet says in the end that we should take care that the time and actions match. In this way, the poet wants to suggest us that the importance of time in our daily life. Time plays a significant role in our life. All of you know the old saying, a stitch in time saves 9. It means that it is better to act or deal with problems immediately. Now see the rhyming words from the poem. Walk, talk, play, weigh, do, sit, fit. In this way, today we have learned the poem Time for Everything. Now today's exercise, read and recite the poem aloud with proper intonation.